From one player leaving with a ton of potential to another player who leaves with a bit of a dud. Olivier Giroud has unceremoniously left LAFC. Like many of the old aging stars before him in the black and gold, his time here was average. Average. 38-year-old came in with really high expectations after a really strong year in Italy. I remember recording that video when he got it confirmed, and we were over the moon. We're like, this guy dropped, 13 in Italy. He's going to be so good for LAFC. And now, after just about 1,400 minutes in just about a year, he has 5 goals and 3 assists as his time is up in LA. I think it's safe to say that this was not a home run that we all thought it would be. But my question to you is, who is to blame? Is this on Giroud for not working hard enough to make it work? Or was Steve Cherundolo and the system at fault?
I'm kind of more
Don't do it.
tempted to. No, I'm not leaning on the fence.
Do not
Okay.
straddle that fence. I actually was going
I
to
was
put in
going
here.
to say,
I was going to put in my notes here, Connor, do not straddle fence. But I thought, yeah, I didn't even think you were going to take it.
I did it. You didn't even give me a chance. That's not fair. What I was going to say is I lean more towards saying that LAFC is the one at fault here. I mean, you're you know what the system is in place, and it was always going to be a risk bringing in a 37, 38-year-old player. And yes, his numbers were looking good before he came in. He was doing very well with AC Milan. However, that regardless of that, again, it is a risk to bring in somebody who is 37, 38 years old. And I think you just have to know what your system is. Like I can't think of an aging attacking player for LAFC that's been successful for them. So it just I don't know. I would say I don't necessarily think it's on Giroud. I don't think it was he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's like, oh, I'm just going to come in and not put in any effort. I mean, I think, he probably tried to make it work here. LAFC fans could probably say how much effort he put into trying, but I'm more inclined to say that LAFC probably should have maybe like looked into some other options, maybe done a little bit more homework.
Yeah, I'm very, very similar to you in that sense, where I'm on the side of the fence where it's the front office and the system. There are very few for I'm just gonna go back on something you said where you can't remember. I think Chiellini was a good older
Well,
player
that's
for
why I said
LAFC.
attacking older player
Okay,
because
I
I
might have
think
missed.
he was good as well. That's
Yeah, I
why I
might have. All right,
specified
I might have
attacking
missed that. You start everything you say just kind of merges.
in one ear out the
Um,
other. No, I
yeah,
know.
exactly. There are very few high profile players in the world that you bring into a team and mold a system around, right? And LAFC actually already had one of them, and that's Carlos Vela, right? And he wasn't terribly old at the time, but for years, even when he went into the wrong side of 30, you still played around him. Olivier Giroud is not that guy, right? You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. See, kids, I can speak in memes too. I'm hip. I watched him play against Chelsea in the second half in Atlanta for the Club World Cup, and it was just underwhelming because you saw him try to do what he was directed to do, right? Be a guy that we can either play off of, or if we go direct, turn and get in the box for Bouanga, get the rebound. And he didn't have the pace to do it. He's 38 years old. Of course he's not going to, keep up with Denny Bouanga, right?
In fairness, he's never had the pace to do this. His game
Correct,
has
correct.
never.
Yeah, and what bothers me is the idea that, you know, playing this explosive counter-attacking style with 38 years old Giroud at the front of the line was never going to work. And you knew that was never going to work. And in that explosive style that they play, this LAFC style, very rarely did they actually try to find that target player, right? So when we watched them play, even when Giroud came on, they very rarely tried to find this high target. It was always 1 to 3 passes throughout the midfield and back line. And then, okay, where's Denny? Let's get it over to him. Or where's David Martinez? Let's get it over to him. The striker was just the next guy. So it just didn't make sense that you were trying to play this way. But then it begs the question, and you were kind of hinting at this before, where did the scouting go? Because I didn't watch him at Milan. But if you're trying to tell me that he was that much different a year ago, I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I'm gonna sit here and let you say, oh yeah, Giroud was picking the ball up at halfway and sprinting by players because, like you mentioned, That was never his game. And, even when he was trying to get in on the end of crosses, Danny Bouanga, at least in the Chelsea game, and I know that there are other moments where he does different things, but when Danny Bouanga went 1v1 to try and beat somebody and cross it, he didn't have a lot of success. I mean, Reece James played very well against him. I'll give him that. But his best trait was when he was going fast, in behind, going at goal on his own. So if you know that's going to be your style, where does Giroud, who is known for, at least my knowledge, is known for getting on the end of crosses, where is he going to fit in? I don't necessarily see that, and that's something I think I could put my hand up and say, yeah, I misjudged that because that's what I thought was going to happen is in transition we're going to find Denny Bouanga, somebody's going to slow him up, he's going to beat him one on one, chip it to the back post, and Giroud's going to score. Didn't really happen, right? But I don't think you can fault Giroud for the effort. I think he gave it his best, and it just wasn't a good fit for him. And I wish him all the best as he returns to retire in the French retirement league, because that's where all the people go to retire.
That's where they retire. That's where clubs are failing right now
Oh my
with their
God, it's nuts.
promotion relegation.
Yeah, if only they had something like Pro Rel to keep these clubs from failing and going into liquidation, because it doesn't happen when you have Pro Rel. Did you know that?
I did.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad, because if you didn't, get on Twitter. People on Twitter will tell you. But don't look at France. England's all that matters.